Hey everybody, welcome back to another Chango Libre episode of the Monkey Brothers Nerd Show. We still have our good friend Wolf here. He's waving for some reason.
I don't know. For some reason, I feel like there's a camera somewhere. Government's always watching.
The birds are cameras. And so we just finished recording all our, I'm not going to say all our October stuff, but at least as much as we have right now. Figured we'd do a Chango Libre.
Sounds like a good idea. So what are we starting off with today? I know we got a couple of questions for Wolf.
Well, let's start off with the questions before we jump into the,
So, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So, right quick, one thing that I guess always comes up whenever we're talking in Chango Libre is favorite cartoons. Like, you can grow up with, or even stuff that you watch right now. What you got?
All-time favorite is Tiny Toon Adventures.
Not bad. Late 90s, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, early 90s.
Early 90s?
Yeah. It was, let's see. Animaniacs came out, 89, 90?
No, I don't think so. I'll have to fact check you on that one, good sir.
But, I don't know. My years go, my childhood runs together.
Yeah.
But,
I remember the Animaniacs just because of the Good Feathers? That was my favorite cartoon from them.
Oh, yeah. Animaniacs kind of ran me into Tiny Toons. But I remember loving Tiny Toons as a kid. And then, of course, I have an older sibling. And I got a lot of the reruns of the 80s cartoons. So I got a lot of the Thundercats, He-Man, all that.
Yeah, that's the rabbit hole we usually go down. We got into the greatness that was those cartoons, but at the same time, we start picking it apart like vultures because we realize, really Voltron doesn't defend the universe, he just defends his backyard.
Yeah.
And I think the planet had no people on it.
Look, sometimes you gotta keep those kids off your yard.
And then Thundercats, pretty much the same thing, The biggest excitement they had was when Lionel was going, thunder, hose. At least that's the way I remember it. But
No one says the full thing. We just remember hose. That's what.
So here's something we discussed last time we were talking about the cartoons. Do you remember watching Voltron?
A little bit.
Do you remember which Voltron? Do you remember? There was two.
I remember the original one. But I have seen and heard about the cars.
Yes. Yes, the cars. Exactly. With the skates on the bottom. He looks like he's one of those 1950s car hops that you see. Like he's delivering your cheeseburger and fries.
Gonna be skating down Santa Monica Boulevard.
Yeah, exactly.
With a little booty shorts.
Yeah.
Back
to the booty.
Can't get away.
Look, I need to work on my tan. We're on Santa Monica. What are we doing?
I had to fact check the Tiny Toons thing, and Wolf is right. It originally aired September 14th, 1990, and ended in 1992.
Was that the one with the elevator go down the hole?
Yeah, that's Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yeah, okay.
With, Buster Babs.
Plucky Duck was the one that did that.
Dodo.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my favorite one out of all of them.
Yeah, Plucky Duck. Elevator go down the hole. Yeah,
I love their spoof of MTV that they did.
I don't remember that.
I think they did 2 episodes of it, but it was literally oh god, I want to say her name was Roxanne something, but she was kind of like one of those VMA hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they would literally they wouldn't have top songs. They would have old school songs. They would have "Do You Love Me," things like that, sung by the characters and animated. Oh. It was one of those things where you're just as a kid, you don't understand it, but you're you see cartoons, you're enjoying it. And then later on, you're like, oh, God.
Yep, that was our love-hate relationship with the cartoons as we started dissecting them. Really.
Yeah.
Okay, these were so good for nostalgia's sake, but then when you start rewatching them, you're like, what? This is horrible.
I have a question for you. Did you ever dress up as Voltron with roller skates? No. Never did it for Halloween?
You know what? With Halloween season, what? I actually can't remember any good Halloween costumes that we used to have. But did you ever dress up?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. There is a picture of you and Batman, right?
Yep, there's a picture of me in the old school Batman costume.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite one, I mean, that's a good childhood memory because it's Batman. I mean,
Yeah.
But my favorite one was when I was going to pre-K, and it was like a community center. So I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know what the hell Halloween was.
Yeah.
At the time, parents come from Mexico and stuff. Like Halloween. The hell kind of holiday is that? Anyways, nonetheless, my teacher dressed me up as Dracula. She slicked my hair back and painted a big old, widow's peak on me like Dracula.
Uh-huh.
Gave me those plastic fake Dracula teeth and a cape. And I was like, man, that's cool.
What about you, Wolf?
So, thinking about this made me remember there was another cartoon that I watched almost religiously.
Uh-huh.
So, for like a string of like 5 Halloweens, I was Wolverine from the X-Men.
We have killed that cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, I remember it. There was one year where I went as Spider-Man because like Spider-Man came out as well. But it was like just like Wolverine straight down because I was just like, I love that cartoon. I love Wolverine.
So, now that you brought up the X-Men cartoon, you want to go ahead and ask him that question too?
So, we were watching a clip, I think it was on Facebook, where it was a clip from that particular X-Men cartoon where the X-Men were fighting Juggernaut. Alright? So we all know Juggernaut, if you read the comics, or even if you don't, but you watch the cartoon, pretty tough as not a mutant, by the way, just tongue-tied, magical
powers.
So, but in this particular clip, when you're little, you're just blown away by everything because you see Wolverine. This is who was fighting, Juggernaut. Wolverine, Jubilee. Okay, all right. Why Wolverine needs Jubilee? Don't know. Those sparklers in his eyes. Okay. But then
maybe she needed to signal the rest.
Right, but then came the heavy hitters. You had Colossus.
Okay.
You had Jean Grey. Okay. You had Cyclops. And you had Storm. Why does it take Wolverine and Jubilee compared to the other guys? Cyclops and Jean Grey and Storm are all Omega level mutants.
Wait. Cyclops is Omega?
Because of his eye beams? I'm thinking so, but at least Jean Grey and
Storm.
Jean
Grey
right?
and Storm, yeah.
And then Cyclops is not a slouch either because that big old...
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, again... let's say 2.5 level Omega mutants, right? Why would it take them and Wolverine and Colossus is at least on par with the Juggernaut? Why would it take all of those to defeat one Juggernaut? That's like saying, hey, Wolf, I need you to go take that dollar from the guy that's panhandling on the corner, but it'll take all 5 of us, even though there's only 3 in the room, but we'll make believe there's 2 more. To take the $1, it just doesn't make any sense.
He's a crafty cage fighter. We just didn't know that.
I don't know about all the crafty part, but really, now it just turns it. When you look at it now, you're like, is it just that he was really that evil, or you were just harassing him? Because really, y'all had all the brute strength, and it was one Juggernaut.
Maybe there was somebody that was filming. They didn't want to make it seem like they were beating him up too bad.
I don't know, man, because that to me, I was like, okay, Storm by herself could probably take him.
This is before the invention of cell phones and cameras. So all we get is the X-Men narrative.
I know exactly.
Yeah,
Professor X just twisting it to his.
Yeah.
To his.
It's like Juggernaut came out, he was beating babies.
But you know what? Now you kind of it makes me think. You know who I'm always tripped out?
I can only think of the terrible Juggernaut scene from the X-Men. I'm Juggernaut.
Yeah. Vinnie Jones was a Juggernaut.
Yeah, I can only think of that now.
You know who always surprises me is an Omega level mutant? Iceman. I don't know why that always surprises me. I always forget, and then I remember whenever Omega level mutants are brought up, and I'm like, that's right, Iceman's. But
you know why? Because in all the cartoons on TV, he's always this goofy kid, right? He's always like the little teenage goofy kid, right?
Let me trust the clubs.
Yeah. And then But in the comic books, his future self comes back and he's like this. He learns how to create like big ice forms to fight for him and all kinds of crap. He realizes, oh crap, there's water in the atmosphere. I could freeze that. Well, duh. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, he literally has earth-changing capabilities.
Huh, I didn't think about it that way.
But well, I mean,
Yeah.
If we're thinking about just the cartoons,
Yeah.
we wouldn't because he's a goofy little bastard.
Yeah.
But then you start looking at the comics and they're like, oh man, why didn't you just do that? Juggernaut didn't stand a chance. Jubilee was always a character I didn't like. Still don't like to this day.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you throw sparklers in people's eyes.
I think she lost that power. I think she's a vampire now.
Nope.
Not that.
She went back and forth.
She I don't know,
yeah.
right?
In fact, I was reading a thing about it. It was about Wolverine, how his healing factor was so crazy that in one of the comics where she was a vampire, she actually bit Wolverine, turned him into a vampire, but because his healing factor was so crazy, it literally, I guess they just kicked out the vampire bite. Said, no vampire here, Blade. No Blade coming over here.
We need Wolverine's blood. That's how we get rid of everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I remember that was
Hugh Jackman hit us up.
That was a story in that Marvel Zombies thing where everybody thought that he would be able to cure it, and then it just turned out it actually just deactivates all mutant powers.
Yeah. I guess if you're the Juggernaut, you're king of the world. Because when you think about it, his powers aren't mutant. They're just magical.
Yeah.
I'll just grab my helmet. Thank you, sir.
It wasn't the helmet. I think it was the gem, right?
It was the gem. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the helmet stopped him from getting the
Professor X.
Yeah. Jean Grey and all those people.
Which I guess is the same kind of material Magneto's helmet is made out of, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe they went to the same
Yeah.
Taylor
They went to the same Sephora.
Yeah.
It's like a bad guy superstar. Like, all right. Anti-psychic helmets, aisle 2.
Bad guys are us.
Yeah. Incredibly expanding spandex, aisle 3. Don't kill the Hulk.
Right. That's why the Hulk's always looking back after he transforms back to Bruce Banner. Looking back all sad. Why must I always lose my pants? Why?
Evil butt plugs, aisle 5.
Why doesn't Nike invent shoes that expand with my huge feet?
Hold on. What exactly would qualify as an evil butt plug? I need a little bit of explanation on this one.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'll do without the explanation because I don't want to know about any kind of experience with an evil butt plug.
I think it's
too much
lighting.
information.
It has a glow coming from it. You turn the aisle, you just hear a.
It'll be like that.
I think that's a vibrator, but okay.
Hey, they're next to him.
But yeah, continuing with the question. Oh yeah, I guess not continuing with the questions, but we do have a little bit of a spontaneous news that we decided to make a small purchase today.
We all three went on a child.
Okay. Maybe not that big of a purchase. I said small purchase.
We said our close friend Wolf. We lied. We barely met him today.
Yeah.
They picked me up at the bus stop.
Without a small child. Just let you know.
Yeah. Please don't look for us.
So, yeah, we bought a 3D printer today.
Yeah.
The Anycubic 3D Viper?
Yeah, the Viper. Yeah. We made that jump. Decided to start printing out. Well, we want to try to print out some masks. Because the mask we've been wearing lately,
it's hot.
Yeah. And we can wear them about once or twice before they start getting kind of smelly. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna hopefully start printing out some masks and painting them, which I think will be the exciting part for me. I love customization, so
yeah, for sure. But yeah. So on to more questions for Wolf here. Well, damn, I wasn't going to ask you that kind of question. I think also the fact that you kidnapped a child also.
I did not kidnap a child.
Whatever, you kidnapped a child.
I purchased it legally. I'll hold it to court, right?
I'm sure you will.
That's right.
But
that's the one thing a lawyer never wants to hear. I'll hold up in court, right? Is there anybody else that can take this case?
Do you remember like I guess I can't even say they're old. But like the Toonami shows, on Cartoon Network.
Like original Toonami?
Yeah. And I don't remember if you remember Samurai Jack and whatnot.
Yeah. Was
that on Toonami? Do you remember?
I think it started on Toonami, and then like Cartoon Network like moved it to like one of their original lineups.
Yeah. But out of those shows that you remember, which one's your favorite?
Okay.
I mean, honestly, like past the 90s, I think we had a whole host of pretty good shows that came up. You know.
I think my favorite was probably I don't remember its name, but I think it was like Tenchi or Tenchi Muyo.
Oh, Tenchi Muyo. Yeah, there's a bajillion in one of those shows.
Like the original one that came on Toonami, like that.
Yeah.
Like that was probably the thing that piqued my interest into like the actual side of anime.
You got into the ecchi anime, pervy anime.
It was the first exposure that I had, and it got me.
Doubt that, sir.
Look, we all gotta look it up at some point. But
I think it quickly led to a chicken wearing a necktie, maybe.
Oh. I don't remember it that much. I just remember one of them was the space pirate that had a magical dog that turned into a ship. It's saying it back now sounds like I'm tripping on drugs.
Yeah.
So, but like I remember that one. I remember that was the thing that kind of like it's like, oh, there's more than just like the cartoons I see. But then it kind of led me to like look for more. I remember like it wasn't my favorite, but I remember there was one called Zoids.
Oh yeah.
Like I like that one because again I was young. And then there was one I don't remember its name, but it was like 4 samurai that were like each in charge of like a element.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Like it's a real obscure one. I think it was like only on for like maybe a month.
I guess broaching the subject of first anime. Doc, what was the first anime you watched that got you kind of interested in anime?
Oh man, honestly, I would say like anime, like Cowboy Bebop. Then we watched Trigun, and even Lupin the Third.
Yeah,
and we're talking about other kind of anime.
No, not that kind of anime.
No, I mean the first one I really watched was Ninja Scroll. And
yeah, that's not that bad.
And I was like, of course, everybody liked Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah,
and Akira. And when I tried watching Akira, and I didn't understand what the big deal was. I mean, some people would murder me for that. Don't care.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I didn't.
My favorite part was the motorcycle.
Yeah,
but that was about where I drew the line.
Yeah,
and Ghost in the Shell, I liked it, but still, I didn't understand what the big deal was. I mean, other than it looked like the animation took a leap forward.
Yeah,
with that. But like I said, Ninja Scroll, and now that I remember, the very first time I saw anime that I really liked was Fist of the North Star.
Oh, dude, Fist of the North Star. Yeah.
And of course, then the first time I saw it really on a cartoon when I was a kid was Battle of the Planets.
Yeah, I was about to ask you. I remember, because you've been grabbing the Battle of the Planets Funkos, right? Yes. At least as much as you could.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if they just sold out so quickly, but I bought one like, what was it, September? Beginning of September. And then, even before that, in August, if I remember correctly. And I barely got it this week, my bad. So, almost a month later. Wow. So, I'm trying to get the other ones, but they're no longer in stock, so I got to find them.
Yeah. You got Joe, right?
Yep, my favorite character.
Yeah. You didn't get Hoot Hoot?
Least favorite character.
That one's in a bag that's being burned right now.
Yeah, he was the color brown. And we should tell you exactly what everybody thought of him.
I thought he was green.
No, he had brown and green. He was an owl.
Okay.
So, I mean, literally.
Dumbest of all animals.
Because Princess was a swan, right?
Yes.
Who was the hawk?
That was Mark. The guy that was just on the white.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the condor.
Yeah.
My favorite character.
I can't remember the tiny dude. Oh, tiny.
Yeah. Yeah. Or as you like to call him, Hoot Hoot.
I thought Hoot Hoot was the big guy.
Yeah. No, you're talking about Tiny in American. When you watch Battle of the Planets in America, Tiny was the big guy. That was his name. You're talking about Kiok?
Yeah, Kiok.
Yes. Which my understanding was he was a cyborg or a robot in Japan. That's why he had all those weird quirks.
We don't talk about it.
Yes. You know, which now people might try to cancel them because they think it's whatever. Yeah. But literally,
this is the dark times. We don't speak of them.
I know, right? And there are, as my friend Chris would say, what about Seven Zark 7? Who wind up being their robot butler, underwater guy, or whatever he was.
Jesus.
I can honestly say I don't remember 7 Zark 7.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
Trust me, I was like, when you try to Americanize something, that's one of those things that you're like, wow, you didn't make this cartoon better. What I always remember was watching the beasts that they come up with. They were all mechanized.
Oh, yeah.
I remember one that I thought it was awesome was if I remember correctly, it was like a mechanized mammoth. They're like, what the hell?
The biggest thing I always remember is just kind of like the best part of that anime was the ship.
Yes.
Yeah, the special attack was turning into the Phoenix and just pretty much flying through the enemy and then bam, it's over. Like,
it's like, why didn't you just start with that at the beginning?
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
you have to
you
fill
won't
25
defeat
minutes.
me, Fire Phoenix. It's over, fool. Planet saved.
Which coincidentally, compared to Voltron, I guess they saved more people, didn't they?
Yes. They protected the universe.
Voltron protected Voltron.
Pretty much. Voltron in the castle in the kingdom that they had no people yet.
Voltron protected by Kia.
Hey man, you have to get your Forgan Flarf somewhere.
So, speaking of, here's my question. No.
It's just what I was about to say. What are we going to do? Scandinavian DuckTales?
I mean, you could. But, so, here's my question for you.
Damn, I remember DuckTales. Go ahead.
What was, as a child, as a kid, what was your favorite toy? The one thing that you wish you could have back. You have to pick one.
Ooh. That would probably be... I used to have like one of those... Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, oh, there's so many.
And that's the hard part. To pick one.
Well, you already got yours. Well, you got one of yours, I should say.
Yep. So now that I got that one out of the way, I got to get the next one.
Yeah. Honestly, I know exactly which one I would get back. Remember back in the day when the Batman movies were coming out, they released the Batmobile?
Yes.
That. Because there was a little...
Are you talking about the Michael Keaton Batman?
I think so.
So the very first Batman that came out.
Yeah. Because it was like...
The true Batmobile.
Like, it was like the bubble in the back with like a shark fin coming off of it.
Yeah.
That was Michael Keaton. And blue, like, there's a button that lit up the internal blue. That looked really fucking dope. Yeah. I would kill to get that back.
I had that. I think it's still in storage. I don't know.
Cute.
But I think I have two. They would have
just one.
Look,
just one.
No, you can tell it. You can share the second one, but like those two, you got to pick one.
I think it would have to be the Power Ranger buckle that I had.
Hold on. What color did you have?
I know it was pink.
Shh. No, it was the Red Ranger.
Of course,
yeah. Because growing up, Red was my favorite.
Yeah.
And like he had the fucking T-Rex.
I was guessing it was either gonna be red, green, or white.
Had I gotten the green one, I would have fucking never gotten rid of it. But I loved the Green Ranger, but the Red Ranger was always my favorite. And then I had that, but the other one is like the walking Godzilla. Like it was on like the wheels, but like they did the whole motion like it would walk.
Oh yeah,
it had the tiny wheels at the bottom of it.
Yeah, I had that, and I think a motor or something in it died, and then I put it away, and then I think my parents one time when they were cleaning up threw it away. That's probably the one I would want back the most, just because I remember walking behind it just all day, just like.
So, I guess on that subject, which Godzilla do you prefer?
Are we talking like the Matthew Broderick one? Or are we talking like the Tohos? Are we talking about the new one? Which?
Hold on. So one, I think everybody here knows. I don't know actors by names. So
the guy who played Ferris Bueller.
He was in Godzilla.
Godzilla 2000.
Yeah. Okay.
The one that looked like a giant iguana.
Okay, so
pretty much not that Godzilla because everybody could agree that movie sucked.
Yeah, I was saying you can just disqualify that one.
Okay, so I remember Godzilla, and I had a lot of the old Godzilla figures. Those I would probably like more.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I like the new Godzilla more than some people give it credit for.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I will say, I think it's one of those things where a lot of people, if you remake something or you do anything to something that's old, people have an inherently ability just to hate on it because it touches it. I will say the newer Godzilla movies are not as bad as the 2000 one.
Yeah.
I will say
very few things can be as bad as that one.
I will say Godzilla 2014, not the best of Godzilla movies.
Which was that one?
That was just, I think it was just called Godzilla. It had Bryan Cranston in it.
So it was the first of the new Godzilla movies.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the prequel before King of the Monsters.
Okay.
I'm translating, I know.
Yeah.
I speak Louis.
Godzilla King of the Monsters, I really did like.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like a kind of more true Godzilla movie to the Toho ones.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Godzilla vs. Kong yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. But speaking of King of the Monsters, dude, that Mothra reveal scene where they're at the waterfall. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. The monsters and the reveals and everything in that is perfect.
Yeah.
And I really like it. One criticism of the first Godzilla was, they spend too much time on the humans. They spend too much time on the humans. It's I get it, but also you have to think when the old Godzilla movies, it was kind of built on look what the nuclear testing and stuff it did. Yeah. They created this. And this thing, it's kind of centered around climate change in the same vein of the nuclear testing. And they're trying to sit there and go hey, we're trying to reset the natural order.
Literally, you wanted to say something.
Nope, I was just going to say, I like the old ones. Why? Because it's cheesy. You can tell somebody in a rubber suit.
Yeah.
You can't beat Mecha Godzilla and Mecha King Kong.
No.
It's like the Power Ranger fights. It's clearly you're in a rubber suit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
These are all models.
Yeah.
We're going to ignore that.
There's this one where you see Godzilla drop kicking one of the monsters, and he's sliding across on his tail.
I love the Godzilla drop kick, man. That is one of my favorite all-time moves. That's gonna be
my wrestling. That's gonna be my wrestling finisher.
Just like the King Kong versus Mecha King Kong, where Mecha King Kong had that strobe light on his head, so he would almost hypnotize King Kong, and he'd be like, "What?" and get convinced. Mecha King Kong would start just whooping him down until King Kong said, "Hey, maybe if I punch the crap out of that light, I won't be hypnotized." I will say, out of all the monster movies, I still have great fondness for the 80s, I think. The 80s King Kong that came out.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I have like Jessica Lange and I forgot who else, but like it was like literally they would do like mechanized arms and stuff covering like, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that it wasn't, you know, because you didn't have, of course, the technology you have now.
Yeah.
But so I always love that one just because they went out of their way to like they went to they were supposedly in that island. They kidnapped the woman and they offered her up to King Kong. They did a whole production, you know, the music and the drugs. Like, man, they're really building it up.
Yeah.
You know, people chanting and stuff. They're like, Kong. Here comes King Kong, and you know, she passes out. You know, I was like,
you know, I think there's something I realized. I think it was I was rewatching the Tron movie, Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap! The right music to a movie just elevates that movie to a much higher place. You know?
I think Daft Punk did the music.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But and it's funny. I'm not one to like that kind of music.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But I literally like that.
Yeah. And then to have them in there as MP3 programs was kind of neat.
Yeah. And they were supposed to come out with the last part of that trilogy, but
it got canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, alrighty then. Like actually, I like that better than the first Tron.
Yeah.
So,
because I mean, it's that movie in terms of music elevated it to a whole new. Like, without that music, it would have been like okay. It would have been an okay movie.
So how do we feel about the new Matrix movies coming out?
Oh. So.
I don't know if I'm going to go see it.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to go see it. Because, you know, there's still a whole pandemic going on and whatnot. But I will definitely watch it.
I don't. It's very weird to me because they have Larry Fishburne, Morpheus, is not in the movie. They have a completely new Morpheus.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll try to have an explanation for that.
They do have an explanation for that.
And then it's only, I think, one of the Wachowski siblings that was doing it. The other one dropped out. So
I will say all the the production stuff doesn't necessarily turn me off from the movie. What turns me off from the movie, I'll probably still watch it.
Mm-hmm.
What turns me off from the movie is I feel like with the original trilogy we kind of had an end.
Yeah,
we had an end.
Yeah,
and I feel like this is kind of like a shoehorn thing.
See, here, hold on a second. So here's where I need to step in. So, a long time ago, along with being, an RPG whore, and that I like to play almost any RPG, I'm also an MMO whore. There used to be an MMO called The Matrix Online. When that game came out, the Wachowskis came out and said, this is canonical story. So, and I don't know if they still hold true to that being canonical story, but in The Matrix Online, Morpheus was killed off and resurrected, but because they couldn't get the that's the Batmobile that I really like. But because they couldn't get Lawrence Fishburne, right? To voice act him, they brought in another guy, and so they just redid his model, but it was supposedly still Morpheus.
Yeah. Because
he just got resurrected, but he couldn't be brought back in the same body.
So the Doctor Who,
basically. But in that MMO, the storyline was that the machines were keeping Neo's body, and so it was the player's task to try to find Neo's body. But of course, that game got shut down, and the story never completed. So it's kind of interesting to see, one, I am curious if they're going to be sticking to that storyline of having the MMO be canonical.
Yeah.
Because with the whole fact that Lawrence Fishburne isn't there, I kind of like it because it does point towards the fact that they're holding true to that being canonical rather than going back on their word and being like, oh no, they're just like, you know what, yeah, we'll go around that, yeah. So that explains the whole Lawrence Fishburne not coming back. And again, long-winded speech.
That's okay, because hey, at least you explained that part because I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, I will say that if I had to choose between that and the new John Wick movies that apparently are coming out at the same time, I would probably go see John Wick.
Yeah, I think I would go John Wick.
Yeah, if I had to choose between John Wick. That seems...
Because honestly, I remember going to go watch all three of the Matrix movies when they first came out, and everything was awesome to me except for the story. I don't know why, I just never got into the story.
Yeah, Jesus allegory.
Well, yeah, too, but I'm like, never got into the story.
I get you.
I think it took me until I was like in my teens to realize and actually understand the story.
Yeah.
I was more like, I probably enjoyed it more. I don't know if y'all remember that when they had those MTV Music Awards. There was at one point. I think it was the last Matrix movie, the third one, where Neo was having a conversation with that one guy in the room. For the MTV Music Awards, they replaced that guy.
Oh,
with Will Ferrell.
Yeah, the architect.
Yeah. They replaced him with Will Ferrell, and I was like, okay, now that would have made me interested in watching that movie. And it's a weird thing if you think about it. Other than The Matrix, there's not really, at least to my knowledge, there's not really anything else that the Wachowski siblings did that I could say, oh man, that was really good.
Yeah.
Because they did Speed Racer, horrible.
I hate to say it, but I love that movie. The visuals of that movie are impressive.
No, yeah, I mean, but it's the same thing with The Matrix.
Yeah.
The visuals are very impressive. To me, the story was like,
Yeah, I mean, but you can't do much with the Speed Racer story.
Yeah, go fast.
Yeah. It's basically Sonic the Hedgehog with a car.
Well, true, but like the one thing that was always interesting about that story, even as a cartoon, was the dynamic between him and Racer X.
Yeah.
Which was really his brother.
Yeah.
Of course, he didn't know. Because, Speed was a good car driver. Just wasn't much. Yeah. He wasn't, I know. I think Chim Chim was right on par with him as, intelligence level.
Hey, man. Can't be so Chim Chim like that.
Hey, Chim Chim was... I don't even remember. Was he even in the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't remember if he was was Chim Chim in there?
Yeah. So it was Trixie with the Trixie copter, or I don't know what that thing was called.
Yeah, because she was a reporter or whatever she was.
Yeah.
It would be like the Thanos copter.
But yeah. Like I said, not really.
Which I hear the Thanos copter was in Loki. Did you hear about that? Yeah. It was there as an Easter egg.
Look, some things just need to stay buried.
Pretty much.
Not everything has to be an Easter egg.
So, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, those are movies that I'm kind of on the fence about. I mean, I'm glad I have HBO Max, so I can probably watch that on HBO Max. But I don't know if they're gonna, I don't know if it's gonna be those movies that are just gonna be, strictly released at the theater, or HBO Max and then the theater, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think it's gonna be theater release, and then
like a week or so later.
Yeah.
HBO Max.
I know right now, as much as horrible as I know that it is, since I have Disney Plus, I'm be like, all right, Black Widow, you're gonna be on there for free in a couple of days, sweet, or in November or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'll watch that. That dumpster fire there.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything good or bad on Black Widow. What did you hear? Because you apparently heard something.
I heard that they waited so long to make a solo Black Widow movie to make that movie.
It's supposed to be like a prequel kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
When it comes to certain things, because honestly, Taskmaster, which is the villain of that movie, was always one of the coolest villains in the Marvel universe. Just because he was able to copycat anybody's ability, or not ability, but anybody's fighting style.
Yeah, fighting style.
Yeah, just by watching him a few times. So much so that I think he copied Captain America, and
he would train other countries' soldiers.
Yeah.
But one thing I read about him, or maybe I watched a video on Comic Story, one of those two, was that the more people that he studied, the further he got away from who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in a sense, maybe he would forget who he was or something.
That's interesting. I never. But
that would be a nice twist for a character,
Yeah. Speaking of a character, because I remember he was in the I want to see one of the Avengers movies. The French dude, in the comic books, he has that weird like super pointy mustache.
It's not even Whiplash.
No,
Really. His evil sidekick, Muttley.
the something. Speaking of which, did you ever watch Wacky Racers?
Yes.
Which characters do you remember?
There was Penelope.
Penelope what?
I don't remember her name. Like, I remember Penelope, like, I want to say it was, like, Penelope Peach, Penelope Princess, something like that.
Penelope Pitstop.
So what was the main character's name? There was all these wacky races, but there's
like
Peter Perfect.
Peter Perfect, yeah. Once you say with the long ass penis car.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hi, my name's
Talk
Peter.
about-
I got a penis cutter.
Talk about overcompensating.
Yeah.
I remember Jabberjaw.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Basically underwater Scooby Doo. Yeah.
Yep. Josie and the Pussycats.
Yep.
God, there was like a long string of like Scooby Doo clones.
What was that?
Because there was Jabberjaw. There was another one. God damn it.
There were Scooby Doo clones inside of Scooby Doo. I remember there's well, I don't think everybody remembers Scrappy Doo, but
Oh, Scrappy was like okay for like a season, and then it just went terrible.
I don't know about that. But
Let me at him.
Yeah, like the one character everybody hated.
yeah. But I think remember Scooby had like a weird shaggy like cousin or uncle or something. And he was in a different cartoon too. He had like a little afro, like
he was like Country Scooby or something like that.
Yeah. God, I can't remember.
Dewey Doo.
But yeah, and then there was the a pup named Scooby Doo cartoon.
I loved a pup named Scooby Doo. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, well, some canonical lore came out of that, and then Scooby Doo's name is actually Scoobert.
The monster is none other than Red Herring. Fucking Fred. No, that is a great like story element because like Red Herring is like something thrown in to throw the audience off.
Yeah.
And they named a character Red Herring just to Freddy.
You know what? I didn't actually put those two together until just now.
Like that's like the great thing is like little did we know as kids we were being taught like literary devices. Who knew? Who knew cartoons could be educational? Damn you!
Let's see. I'm still trying to find the Scoobert family.
The Scoober family of Scoobers. Let's see. How many Scooby Doo things were there?
So,
Scooby Dumb. That's what his name was.
yeah, that wasn't the guy with the afro.
Yeah.
That was the gray version of Scooby Doo with the little hat. And they were like, dum, dum, dum. That guy.
Was it Howdy Doo?
No. I know what cartoon you're talking about. It's just, because it wasn't a Scooby Doo, it was a bear.
Oh, that's right. It was a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a Scooby Doo off, clone or whatnot. It was a whole different cartoon.
Okay, some of these are just like blatant on the Scooby Doo ripoffs.
Oh yeah.
Like at least like Jabberjaw was at least like slightly different. It's like, hey, we got a shark instead of a dog.
I don't know. I mean, other than the animal change, he was a coward. You had the Shaggy clone.
Like they had the clones, but it was like instead of a dog, it was like a shark, and they had like a talking bug. But like all these other like the funky
I remember that.
the funky phantom, it's literally a group of kids and a dog.
But the funny thing about it was, it always got me about Jabberjaws. Why are you on land?
Yeah.
How are you solving mysteries on land?
Sorry, this is cartoons. We don't follow logic.
No, they should be working.
Goober and the Ghost Chasers. Clue Club. Okay. I'll give it to Clue Club. They have two dogs.
the biggest thing about Scooby Doo though is they got the all-time great Vincent Price for the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
God, I love that.
they did a lot of that. I remember when they had Batman and Robin.
Oh my God.
What?
Yeah, it was Scooby Doo and Batman and Robin on an episode, but it was like Adam West and Dick Ward
Really?
from the TV show.
Yeah.
I just realized this. I guess it's supposed to be the Freddy clone of Speed Buggy. It looks like a cartoon version of John Travolta.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we gotta get these clues.
But I had actually forgotten about Speed Buggy until you mentioned them close to it.
Oh, Captain Caveman.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that was Captain Caveman. Hong Kong Fu.
Oh, dude. One of the most racist fucking.
Yeah. Which now
We could not watch that now.
Yeah.
he would be like martial arts action dog.
I was about to say something that was worse. I was like, nope.
MMA hound.
And I remember he's actually the cat that would actually freaking solve the mysteries.
Yeah. Well, just like Inspector Gadget, it was never.
Yeah, I was
Inspector
gonna
Gadget.
Penny.
I go, hey, speaking of incompetence,
Yeah.
Go incompetence.
which just kind of reminds me of the incontinence thing that we were talking
Oh
about.
yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, did you ever? Speaking of Inspector Gadget, did you ever hear the theory that it was that the evil? What was that guy's name? Dr. Claw or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
That it wasn't. It was actually Inspector Gadget that was that character.
Yeah.
That literally, Penny and Brain were always solving the crimes, and the reason he couldn't because he couldn't catch himself.
I've never heard that one.
So the way I heard it was that it's Dr. Claw is the original Inspector Gadget because the Inspector Gadget that is Penny's uncle, right? Penny's uncle?
Yeah.
Is basically a clone or a cyborg that basically like they built to replace himself so that she wouldn't be by herself, and so now Dr. Claw couldn't come, like he couldn't come back because that would just confuse her and whatnot.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know?
Do you remember Ed, Ed and Eddie?
Yes,
Yes.
unfortunately. I hated that cartoon.
Didn't never watched it. It was like past me. I say that knowing that I like the Grim Adventures of Billy and that.
Did you ever see or like hear the theory that it was like the reason you never saw adults or anything was because they were all dead and they were part of their time?
Oh wow, no, I never heard of it.
Yeah, like it's I'm gonna butcher this, but it's basically like each one of the kids is dead and like they died in a specific way and it kind of like ties into them. Like Naz was supposed to be like kind of like a '60s chick that ended up dying in the '60s, and like I think Eddie was supposed to be kind of like around the 20s or 30s. Since he's always like wanted to get like rich schemes, things like that. Like they all have like a death associated with them. But it's like why the cult, like they never leave the cul-de-sac. You never see any like adults or anything around it. They're just like all dead. It's like it really screws up with your head when you think about it.
It's kind of like I was watching the video that was along the same veins. It was about Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that one? Where all of these were in Christopher Robin's head, and they were just a specific mood. Like Winnie the Pooh always hungry, so it was gluttony, and Eeyore was depression.
Yeah.
And Tigger was like ADHD or whatever. And so like all of these represented some kind of part of his personality. And I'm like, either A, that is actually cool if that's what it's supposed to be, or B, y'all spend way too much time.
Y'all spend way too much time on the internet. Y'all need to go outside, enjoy some time.
Right.
There's another one that's along the same line as Ed and Eddie about the Rugrats. It's kind of similar to like Christopher Robin's, and that is that all the kids, like all the babies, are a figment of Angelica's imagination.
Oh wow.
That's why there's the twins, because their parents were gonna have kids, but she didn't. Like they were stillborn or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The Rugrats one.
Yeah, the fact that
everything's inside Angelica's mind.
Yeah. So that the twin thing was basically that.
She didn't know.
Yeah, since it was not an abortion, it was they lost the baby before it was born. Yeah, she didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, so she imagined both.
Oh.
Chucky died with his mom when she was giving birth. I forget how Tommy died.
I don't know, to be honest.
But like it's why like everybody seems to react to like her more than the kids.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes sense, but also at the same time when you look at the episodes, it doesn't sometimes.
It's one of those where you're like, man, we must have been partaking in some very good recreational extras to come up with this.
Like whatever you got, I want some.
Yeah, I mean, along with the whole, there's the euphemism of Ren and Stimpy.
Stimpy.
Like the original Ren and Stimpy. Do you remember that one episode where like Ren is like sawing the log that Stimpy is holding between his butt cheeks?
Yeah, and he's going.
Yeah, he has the saw like attached to his crotch, and he's just like thrusting, and they're like, ah.
Ren's
Yeah.
Ren's got an O face. Stimpy's got an O face. Everything's just like.
And he's like, Stimpy, hold still. He's just like, oh gosh,
Stimpy, I'm gonna bust.
But yeah,
Your cat fair's on the dresser.
yeah. I mean, I don't think there was much subtext to Ren and Stimpy. It was just either incredibly gross or incredibly sexual.
Wasn't that one of the creators that got like pretty much canceled because he was like talking to like underage girls, like maybe in their teens and stuff? And
I have no idea.
yeah, not Bobcat, not him. I'm talking about one of the other ones. Like,
I don't know.
I was like, oh, talk about what?
I know apparently one of the newer cartoons on Cartoon Network, either they had to get a new showrunner because the creator, same thing, like I guess was talking to underage people. It's kind of like, it's kind of messed up, man. You in cartoons,
Right?
it's gonna put you around a lot of them. What's wrong with you?
I don't know, man. What's with the cartoon creators and trying to I'm just gonna. I was gonna say diddle kids, but
I guess there's no you were kind of gonna say it.
He should have said it. It was just like, got the fucking Benny Hill theme in my head now.
I don't know how you went from what is that circus theme called? Entrance of the Gladiators or something like that? Like,
I think so.
which is a weird name for it, but hey.
Yeah.
Just start doing Macho Man impressions with it.
Oh yeah!
I am the greatest ringmaster.
I think we're starting to get a bit too crazy, with the Macho Man Randy Savage things here.
That sounded like a combination of, 45 and Macho Man.
That's where things go off the rail. You just start doing Macho Man impressions. You're like, hold on.
That's where we have to call it quits, man. But
we gotta reset.
Before we end this, I do want to ask a question.
Okay.
43.
What are your thoughts on because I remember we talked about this, the whole, Chris Benoit will never get into the Hall of Fame, Wrestlers Hall of Fame.
I think it's true because let's be honest, you can't really overlook what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be the same thing. Like, with China probably won't get in until we're well down the line.
What are you trying to do?
She did porn.
She did porn and then she overdosed.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's, I think when Vince and Triple H they're away and they're not in any type of capacity, you might see her come in. Just because there's a whole fucking situation with that. We can spend hours on that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But with Chris Benoit, I think it's the same thing. I think he's never gonna get in because you can't just overlook that. He was a great in-ring talent. one of the best, but what happened on that night, like, even with, because I was talking to somebody about this, like, even with the CTE and all the head stuff, it's just one of those things where nothing is going to be able to
overshadow that.
Yeah. Like,
no, I think
like I could watch his matches and I can still like his matches and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things where,
yeah, I think we can all agree to that. Just it is one of those things. Like I said, me and Doc had talked about it before. And came to the same conclusion. Like, yeah, I don't think he's ever going to get in, despite the fact that he was a great wrestler. Just there's just no overshadowing.
Did you hear that? I guess his first kid that he had.
He's trying to wrestle, yeah.
Yeah, thought about using the Benoit name.
No, he wants to use the Benoit name, but he's gonna get blackballed no matter what.
Yeah, it's like
they'll take him if he changes his name. I mean, look at the son of Rick Steiner. They gave him. They were calling him. I forgot. They were literally calling him Rick Steiner, not Rick Steiner, but Rex Steiner. And then they said, "Nah, we're gonna call you Brock Breaker with 2 Ks."
See, I think if I was like, Rick Steiner's son, I'd be like, I am the Frankensteiner.
Something you can't get worse than. It's almost as bad as I was watching this thing on Stone Cold, and they get to the part where he was going away from that ringmaster character that he went to WWE with, and he's talking about how like they finally let him pick his own name, and they gave him like 3 pages worth of names. Like one of them was like Chili McFrost, Ice Jagger, Otto Von Ruthless. It was horrible. Like literally, you're thinking they pay you, and you came up with 3 pages of crap.
You might as well call him bitch face.
Otto Von Ruthless.
Yeah, Otto Von Ruthless. So by now it's probably on the high end,
Yeah,
I am Otto Von Ruthless.
And even Mick Foley was making fun of like Ice Jagger. Like if he would have gone with that name, we never would be sitting here at all.
Yeah,
We would be like, no.
I'd be like, I think at that point I'd be like, I'm gonna paint my penis blue. I am the Ice Dagger.
Get ready for the dagger knee.
So you'd be like, is that frostbite?
I only fight women.
Well, back at that time, yeah, you could probably get away with that.
Have you all seen any of the Dark Side of the Rings?
I have. Before, I refuse to pay for it now, but
they're
good.
I will say the first 2 seasons I liked more than this season. I feel like the production quality for the first 2 were better in the sense that like it kind of, to me, it felt like it told an objective version of the events.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to like maybe going one way or the other. Because like the couple that I've seen from this season, not gonna get into the whole thing, but like it seems like there's more, instead of it being like, hey, this is the events that happened and we're gonna kind of let it play out. It seems like things are kind of pushed with the narration in like one direction.
I get you.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen them since since Vice was on YouTube, and you have to pay for their content. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Like, that's quite alright.
I think they're on HBO Plus.
Yeah. No, they're on Hulu.
But I will say, I was talking to somebody I work with, and he didn't realize that Chris Jericho did the narrations for it.
No, really?
I was just like, I will say, like, I like the fact that they got Jericho to do the narrations. It's like, what? That is Jericho. I was like, you didn't know that?
Like, honestly, I always forget, 1, that Jericho even exists. But 2, I always remember him. Yeah, I always remember him more for having his own side gig, the band that he plays in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now it's kind of cool because he's on AEW now, right? He's wrestling for that promotion. So his entrance, what they do now is they pump his music.
Mm-hmm.
So then all of a sudden, everybody in the stadium sings the chorus.
Oh, really?
That is fucking cool. I mean, you could think of a million different entrances, I guess, but
Yeah.
for him, it's like break the walls down, and But to him, like, to literally they start playing his music, and then everybody in the crowd they start singing the chorus to that song.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they brought him out a couple of months ago when it was his birthday, and like everybody in the crowd started singing his song, like the whole song. I was like, man, that's cool.
Yeah. That is some good crowd interaction right there. Just kind of like
That's the one thing they'll say. They have really good crowd interaction.
at AEW.
Yeah, their crowd is really, really live.
I will say, like, I when AEW first came about, I wasn't sold on it, just because some of the people that immediately signed up with it, I wasn't fans of it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But like some of the acquisitions that they've made, some of the production changes and things like that they've done and they've produced, it definitely feels more polished and better than what WWE feels like right now. Which is kind of sad to say.
Yeah. I think at this point we are running long. So we'll go ahead and call this episode done here. So as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And hit the notification bell.
See you guys next time.